now we've got MacPorts installed, we now need to use it. So with the Finder up, I'm going to go to Utilities, and I could use the shortcut Shift Apple key U. And this gets me to these really neat utilities. Down here at the bottom is a terminal. So we're going to bring up a terminal. I happen to have mine set a little bit bigger than normal. And you've got to use command line. A lot of people are scared of the command line because they've grown up on GUIs, but it's not all that hard. This is the command port, and it's got some help for those who don't like to read this or want more detail. You can type man port, and you get all kinds of stuff written in computer programmerese. We don't really need that much. What we're going to do is we're going to type port search Apache. I'm going to pipe that to a guy called more. This is the pipe symbol. And I get a whole pile of things. I'm going to want Apache 2, which is the latest version of Apache. And as it says, it's an extremely popular second version of the Apache server. I'm also going to need MySQL. I'm going to do the same trick, and you'll see that there's all kinds of MySQL stuff. And what I'm going to want is MySQL 5, which is the database server, and I'm also going to want to install MySQL 5-server, which is the one that actually runs the server. And then what else am I going to want? I'm going to want PHP, port search PHP. And there's a gazillion PHP things. There's PHP 4, but we're going to want PHP 5 because YASiteKit only works with PHP 5. Because PHP 4 is old, lame, and really tired. Now there's a whole pile of other neat stuff. Like, for example, we got PHP 5 curl. We've got the database adapters. Everything is, it's like in a restaurant where everything's a la carte. So I'm going to get this started. I'm going to say port install Apache 2 PHP 5 MySQL 5-server. This is kind of a trick because MySQL 5-server depends on MySQL, so that'll pull in MySQL 5. And I'm going to hit return, and a bad thing happens. It says here, MacPorts is running without privileges. You may not be able to complete certain actions. The way MacPorts works, it actually goes out and it gets the source for every one of the packages that you want to install, that you're going to install. It builds them using the compiler in Xcode, and then it puts them away in a directory that's under the root directory of your system called /opt for optional /opt. Now you'll see that this didn't work because it requires root privileges. Now how do I get root privileges? Well, I have administrative privileges on my account, which means that I can now use the sudo command. You know, every time that you go to install something on Mac OS, you'll get a window that pops up that asks you for your password if you have administrative privileges, or if you don't, it will ask you for the username and the password for somebody who does. If you're working on the command line, you don't get a window. What you do is you prefix the command you want to run with sudo, which stands for do as super user. I can now hit return. It asks me for my password. I type it in, and off we go. This is going to take a long time. I'm not going to wait for it, so we'll be back. Okay, MacPorts is finally finished. It took a while. And this is the output, and there's all kinds of, it gives you a blow-by-blow of everything it's doing, building, installing, all this crap. And buried in here is all kinds of interesting stuff that you really need to know. So, but it just kind of scrolls off the screen and disappears. So I'm going to select, holding down the Apple key and the, actually let me go up here and do a select all, which is Apple key A. And then I'm going to do a copy. And I'm going to bring up a copy of my favorite Mac text editor, which is TextMate. And I'm going to do a paste. And now I have all this important information, like the fact that a startup item has been generated for the MySQL 5 server, and this is how you start it. This is how you invoke the thing so it's set up at startup. Also, we have to do the following command in order to create the initial databases, things like that. All kinds of stuff. All right, and I'm going to do a save as someplace, and I happen to have a place where I'm going to keep this, which is down in websites, YASiteKit, general documentation, and I'm going to call this MacPorts install output 1. Okay. And then I'm going to quit TextMate because I don't need it anymore, and I'm going to get rid of this window. Now, I said earlier that we need a lot of stuff which is not in the vanilla PHP that comes with Snow Leopard. And I've gone out and I've done this before. We need curl, which is an interesting gadget. I'm not going to go into all the details on all of this stuff. GD is a graphics processor. EXIF is for pulling information out of photographs. mcrypt is for cryptography. Mongo is a database. PHP 5-MySQL brings in the database adapters that allow you to connect to a MySQL database using PHP, which we have to have in order to actually use the MySQL database with the Apache server. We also have the PostgreSQL database in case we want to use that. Readline, which is just it's a convenience. I'm not even going to get into that, but you'll like it once you find out about it. And SQLite brings in the SQLite database. So I'm going to run this. Okay. What I'm going to do, I could do it a lot of different ways, but I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to copy it. I go down here, I'm going to do a paste, and then I'm going to hit return. It's going to ask me for my password, which I'm going to type very quietly so you can't hear it. And now the port is off and running again. And again, we're not going to wait for it. Okay, at this point we have installed Apache, but we have not configured it. For configuration, I'll refer you to the Apache configuration video. Thank you for watching.